Hi everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic. In this video we're going to talk about an updated, upgraded version of a system that I created called the Intuitively Aligned System. So this is all about working on the biomechanics of the body from our human perspective. Because remember, really, nothing's really physical, it's just our perception of what we deem or are conditioned to think is physical. And this is something that's very close to my heart, because this is how I got started as an energy healer. And it's also something that is, there's not a lot of people doing this in the energy, spirituality, consciousness community, because a lot of healers will heal energetically a number of things about human being or the body, whether that's a mental illness like depression or schizophrenia, all those issues, and a lot of the health problems. But when it comes to the mechanics of the spine, the skeletal system, a lot of healers and a lot of people in that community will go to get physically adjusted through a chiropractor or osteopath, or maybe even seeing an orthopedic surgeon. So, but it's part of you, and everything about you. You are matter that originally materialized as from frequency. So everything is energy, including the spine and every component that makes up the spine and the skeletal system. So this system works on those ideals, right? So as part of the system, we've been really working on, obviously, through intention, so not through physical manipulation or adjustment. Still making the adjustments that are required in regards to vertebrae and discs, looking at the connective tissue aspect of it, the other aspects that are part of joints that make up your skeletal system, right? So cartilage, articular cartilage, ligaments, tendons, muscles, connective tissue. And not only, aligning these things, but also removing calcification, removing inflammation, removing pain, and all the things that come about through a misalignment, a subluxation, as a chiropractor would say. But something that has been a huge addition to this system has really been the work that we've done on posture correction. And with a lot of the rest of my work energetically, there's been a real simplification of the way that we're healing, which dials and connects into this system as well, is that we're not really looking at the specifics so much anymore. We're not trying to intellectualize everything, become very analytical, because again, that all comes from a mind creation or a mind projection, which is really a limited form that we can see ourselves and hence heal ourselves. Which is really then moved into this aspect of compartmentalization of the body, like really breaking the body up into all these different systems, the nervous system, the cardiovascular system, the lymphatic system, urinary system, and so on. We really want to keep things very simple, and that's the complexity has come from how we've put labels and all these things on it to make things more complex than it needs to be. And a big aspect of that healing is looking at the overall picture, the greater picture. That's what, when we embody the soul and body consciousness, which is, I'm connecting into a higher aspect of myself, an evolved version of self, to allow the information to come through to give me a greater picture of things. The greater picture of things is the state that the body then needs to adhere to. Okay, and we're creating that state, and that state becomes the environment that the body has to reside within. And the genome map, the epigenetic studies and work that's been done is showing us a clear validation that really the environment predetermines the function of the body, how the body will express itself, which means how it will communicate, which we know as symptoms, right? So we don't want to use treatments that are just removing the symptoms. We're removing the messenger, right, of the body. It just doesn't make sense. Let's learn a little bit and understand and get greater knowing and understanding of why the body's communicating in that way. And a lot of the times it's because of the greater picture, the environment, the state that is providing laws and guidelines that the body then has to adhere to. Okay, so, and in every moment, the choices that we make, we're providing that state, that environment that the body will follow. So we kind of use that same approach with now the way that we look at the biomechanics and this system here, the intuitively aligned system, is that posture predetermines how your spine, your skeletal system will function and will sit. Okay? So when we quite often go to a chiropractor, right, they'll adjust you, right, the subluxations and the issues there. And then for the last few minutes at the end, and this is not all chiropractors, there are some very great and integrative chiropractors out there too. And the information I'm going to talk about, I got some of that wisdom from some very integrative, intuitive chiropractors. But a lot of the times you get, it's physically adjusting the last few minutes of that particular appointment that you have the chiropractor, then they work on relaxing the muscles and that sort of thing. So to enable that new alignment to hold. But sadly, really the emphasis needs to be on the posture, because the posture is what will allow that new adjustment to remain like that, to hold. And I've spoken to so many people that have gone to practitioners like that, and they have to regularly go because it's not holding. And I think the reason why it's not holding is because there's not a special emphasis on posture, and that being right at the top of the tree, the priority, even more than the adjustments. So we're doing this now. People come and book. We have a session option, which is using this very system that I now give everybody an opportunity to learn themselves. So you can become a healer and use the system yourself, on yourself, but also your loved ones, your family, and if you're a practitioner as well, and your clients. And we're seeing massive changes, a lot of improvements, differences now with this emphasis on posture. And this has become at the forefront of this system now. The intuitively aligned system is posture. Also, we've changed some visualization aspects on the charts as well, which are really cool. And added a few little other things too. So on the front page is kind of, we have called the Diagnostic Chart, and that's kind of your home page. Some beautiful visualization there. And now we've added a few other things, right? We've obviously got posture here, but we've got which area are stronger and weaker, or which area is kind of being overused and what area is being underused. And what we'll come to find with posture issues, the spine works together as one. It's a oneness. And if somebody is starting to get a curvature, let's say, or something going on with their spine, let's say it's either a kyphosis in the thoracic and cervical spine, where there's a curvature or movement anteriorly to posteriorly, so it's being pushed back, then that area of spine will get very locked up. It will lose its range of movement and its capacity to really take on a workload, so that the body naturally kind of protects that area and shifts the workload onto another area of your spine. So what that means, you start to get pockets of your spine that's kind of being underused and some being overused. Now the underused bit, because it's being underused, it loses its range of movement, gets very cemented and locked up, which then puts more stress on another area of your spine, which has to take on more workload, and you start to see more degeneration in that area. And they did a study on the areas that are needing more surgical intervention, right? Because of issues that then compress on nerves, and you lose function, bodily functions because of that. And what they found was the two main areas they found where most of the surgeries are done is right at the base of the neck, around about the C5, C6, C7, T1, T2 area. And also right at the bottom of the spine, so around about L3, L4, L5 sacrum. Doing laminectomies where they have to cut part of the disc away because it's compressing on the spine, or compression issues where you're getting bone on bone and the disc height is shrunk. And therefore it's then pushing on nerves, which then affect, especially in the lower spine, you know, bowel function, urinary function, those sorts of things. Now, the compression or the issues that happen here as well, because there's a bundle of nerves happening that are here that then separate and go down the shoulders and down their arms into the hands. So people lose grip strength and get all these issues of weaknesses through the arms and carpal tunnel and all those sorts of things where they think there's an issue here, but quite often it can be stemming from the neck. So these areas are quite often areas that have to take on more workload. And they're seeing that that's where they have to do a lot more surgical intervention in those areas. And I see that a lot too, those within session work. So that's part of the system enables you to identify those areas. Okay. So we've also got a new chart in there which is to do with reflexology. So I'll quickly show you that. So hand and foot reflexology. So you can work on areas of the hands or the feet. You can also work on common trigger points and also fibromyalgia tender points. And what we do is with your wand that comes with the system, you can just wand in one of these points which will then work on releasing tension out of muscles. A bit like acupuncture, but without the needles. Okay, where we're trying to open meridians. We're trying to open up energy where there is stuck energy or congested energy. So that's been, haven't gone to that chart a lot, but you know, for particular people that are wanting that service, then you can open that service, essentially acupuncture without the needles. So yeah, it's been definitely an eye-opener in regards to posture, how important posture is. Because essentially, really, when you think about it, posture is something that creeps in without you really knowing until you've got a problem like back pain, neck pain. And it's usually, you know, a majority of people always say, oh, it's because I tripped over, or it's because of that one thing I did once, that injury that once. But really, what happens is that these postural deficits creep in over time without you knowing. And that one thing that's just going to push you over the cliff, because you're already on the cliff. Okay, your ability to take on more workload by lifting or doing things, taking on more workload, is compromised already. Okay, because you've got pockets of your spine's not working as one because of these postural deficits, and it's just waiting for that one trigger, that one thing that's just going to push you over the cliff. And then everyone thinks, oh, it's that thing that triggered it, that was the core of, or the origin of the problem. No, it wasn't. The origin or the core of your problem was these postural things that crept in. And, you know, the most common postural issue that we see is forward head posture. Again, you think about, you know, most of the manual labor we're doing is in front of us, right? So it's bringing us forward. Everyone's got a phone. What are we doing when we're looking at a phone? We've got a head posture looking down. We've got desk jobs working at computers. Again, shoulders round forward, head coming forward. So it's very common. So we need to have that awareness that, you know, not only this coming forward is going to cause a problem in that area of your spine, your neck and your shoulders, but it's also going to put more strain on your lower back. Okay. So sometimes we might feel the pain a little bit, but it doesn't necessarily mean the origin or root of that problem or why the body expresses that in that area is coming from there. Okay, so we need to look at the greater picture as we do with all our healing sessions or options, but this also is connected to how we work on the biomechanics of the body as well. So part of the system now is, you know, obviously you get the charts, right? But you get an instruction booklet as well. And this instruction booklet now, a book has a component at the end that teaches you to do an XYZ axis assessment of somebody's posture. So it teaches you how to do that, to look for these postural deficits. And again, I learned this from a very integrative chiropractor who, you know, assesses posture on the 3D assessment of how, because our eyes see in 3D, right? So we look at the 3D aspect of the body, and X, Y, Z are the axes. So X is, across this way. Z is the depth, right? So we'd be looking for forward head posture. So that would be a viewpoint from the side-on view, right? Right, so we're seeing that depth, okay? X is from that viewpoint, so whether we're looking from the front on looking at someone that way, or we're looking at someone that way, from the back, okay? And then Y is the length, right? So we'd be looking for like whether one leg's longer than the other, okay? And usually with a leg longer, it's usually a sacroiliac issue or something going on the pelvis. But again, within the instruction manual, it will teach you all these things. So, for example, X, Y, Z axis there, and it shows you what X, Y, and Z, what you're looking for. Also, getting how you'd look at a client. Again, as I said, from the front, from the back, and then from the side. And that will necessarily give you especially the X and Z components of the axis assessment. And if you're able to, if you have a massage table, then you can get them lined down, and we teach you how to look for what you're looking for in the Y-axis as well. Now, a lot of my clients for the session option are all overseas, so I get them to take those photos. I get them, a loved one of theirs, to take the photos of them, those 3 photos from the front, from the back, from the side. And then as we're about to start the session, I can do an assessment on that, bring that into the session, and we can work on those things. And usually they are the first things we work on. I get immediately guided to working on their posture. Because one issue you can get with going to a chiropractor or somebody that's not going to focus on posture as its first priority is that you can hurt yourself if you get adjustments done without the posture being looked at first. Also, doing stretches, going and doing yoga and those sorts of things, you can actually be causing more harm than good. Okay? Because one thing that I get guided to do is we really need to get the spine working together as one again. And if there's postural deficits and you're going ahead and adjusting that person straight away, we're not creating the state or the baseline for the body to be working as one. Okay, and that's big. Okay, so what we quite often do is we'll work on finding these, you're doing the right assessment, finding these postural deficits, working on them so we can get that client or that person's spine in alignment. And what I mean by that, being able to share the workload evenly throughout the spine before we do the adjustments, the alignment aspect, okay? It's very important, okay? What that will also do is allow those alignments we're about to do for that person to hold for longer, okay? So, this is a very important aspect to the system, which I'm really excited about, and what we can give to people to learn now as part of this intuitively alignment system. Okay, so, we've got a number of the charts. I've already shown you the first chart, 2 charts. Obviously, we've got the posture chart where we look for lordosis, scoliosis, kyphosis. Again, kyphosis, which is driving your spine to a posterior position that way. Lordosis, which is pushing you on an anterior way, so it's being pushed forward. Scoliosis, which is more of a lateral postural issue, which I've had many clients that we've had an assessment done on them where they've got one shoulder way higher than the other, or one hip way higher than the other. Within a 45-minute session, we've essentially got the x-axis even within 45 minutes. This is amazing stuff. Sometimes we just want to work just overall posture. It's not necessarily bound or connected to a specific curvature. So that's that option. So, and also we've got charts as well where you identify certain nerves that have been either entrapped, compressed, or irritated nerves, right? that say a disc has been pushing on, so you can identify which nerve that is, right? And we've also got some dermatome pictures, so you can identify on here it tells you where the nerve originates on the spine. So for example, the long thoracic nerve, it's saying it originates here at C5, C6, C7. So you can look at that and you can see the areas that it would affect that nerve. Okay. So that, you know, all the nerves that involve that go all the way originate from here all the way down to the sacrum. And then we get into the charts of finding out where specifically is there an alignment or posture required. So that's, you know, disc, vertebrae, skulls, skull sutures, hip, pelvis, knees, and then we go into a specific chart. So there, all the different discs, all the different vertebrae, all the different aspects of the skull and the skull suture, all the different aspects of the pelvis, and so on and so on. There's also charts there when we get into, you know, what part of the connective tissue. So we get into joint capsule, connective tissue, ligaments, tendons, and so on. You know, even cover the dental system, right? All the teeth and the mandible, maxilla, the temporomandibular joints, all those aspects. So it's very comprehensive. And obviously you get the booklet here too that you know, discusses why I created the system and why it's important to me and how I got started off with it. What's within the system. So within the system you get the dowsing charts. If you're somebody, let's say, that's never dowsed with a pendulum or using dowsing rods or use muscle testing, well, in this instruction booklet I teach you how to introduce you how to adapt and get that skill set. Also, you get a wand, and currently we're updating that as well. At the moment, we've created 3 new wands that are new to Truly Colours, and I'll quickly show you those now. This is the large Ascension wand, okay, that there. And so we may bring out an option where you get to pick out of the 3 wands that we have. One of them I'm actually wearing right now, which you can wear as a pendant as well. So these are the 3 options. So these are the large one. Now they all bring through essentially the same energies because they bring through three cubit meshes, which these cubit meshes are about bringing through the energy involved to amplify your intention of what you want to achieve, but also it's enabling you to have a greater connection to your wisdom, your soul, your consciousness, which is going to help you with your dowsing too, your detective intuition work. So you can see here the tool is essentially made with brass tubing and a brass rod. So there are the 2 cubit measures there, and then another cubit measure that creates the coil aspect of it. So that's the large one. Now the small one brings through the same energetics, it's just smaller. So again, it's made out of the brass tubing, brass rod, as well as an AccuVac coil there. Now we've added a little loop on here because it's at a size where you could wear it as around your neck as a pendant as well. So you've got it close to you. So if you like that idea, if it's close to you, it's more convenient, well, you know, that one would be the one to go for. But if you like just like the bigger tool and like the idea of it, go for the big one. But we also have this one here too, which is made of brass tubing, but also copper wire, 2 different measurements with the copper wire included there. And we kind of created that image of kind of seeing DNA, right? The 2 strands of DNA that kind of create a vortex, and then you've got the information in the middle of it, which is the nucleotide. So that was this one was kind of developed on that design. But again, that's even smaller than that one. So yeah, whatever works for you. And they're all available on my products page on my website. So the written instructions within the guideline booklet, but also I've done some videos, private videos, which I'll give you a link to if you're more visual in regards to your learning. And you can also always contact me if you're having concerns with it, and I can get you through the process of getting it to sing for you, the system. So, it goes through a number of things of how to using it, how do you, in the charts, where do I start, what's the process of getting the information I need to know before I do the intention work. We also talk about the wisdom, the intuition, how you get started with a pendulum, with dowsing rods, with perhaps muscle testing. So we go through all of that, and then obviously, as I said, discusses the XYZ axis assessment aspect of assessing posture. So all of that within the system. Another addition that's coming very soon, and what I'm working on, is also certain exercises and stretches that you can do, or you can refer your clients to do if you find this client has got an issue with their pelvis is being shifted to one side, so one hip's higher than the other, that you've identified as part of the x-axis of your posture assessment, but you've worked on them, but you just want them to be empowered to keep working on it, to maintain what you've done in a session. Then you can give those exercises for them to do. If somebody's got forward head posture, giving them the exercises that is required for them to readily be, because not only the exercises are helping maintain the right posture, but it's also bringing forth an awareness for that particular client or person to be very involved in that process and becoming more aware of their posture as well. So it's a wonderful thing. So that's something that's being also worked on, that's also going to be part and incorporated within the system. So if that sounds really interesting to you and you'd like to learn this system, well, obviously, if you'd like to feel the benefits of this system, would like to book a session with me to do this, go to my appointments page on at trulyholistic.net and select the spinal adjustment and posture correction session, which is only 45 New Zealand dollars for a 45-minute session. It's so inexpensive for what you're, again, as I say, most practitioners forget the most important aspect of biomechanics, and that's posture. Okay, and that is right the priority of what we do. So I feel like we're really a pioneer in regards to that. Now, if you'd like to have this system yourself and like to learn to do this system and have the system for yourself to work on yourself, your loved ones, your clients, if you're already a practitioner, if you've already got the ability, the intuitive and dowsing ability, and you like to add this to your bow, again, go to my product page at trulyholistic.net. I think it's just trulyholistic.net/products/. Just like what I said about the session before, you just go trulyholistic.net /appointments/. Okay? We'll add the links down in this video. And you'll see the intuitively aligned system there to buy and some more information about it. But otherwise, if you have any comments about this system, please post them down below. I'd love to hear your comments. Like the video. Please, if you enjoyed this content, would like to know more content in the future, please subscribe to my channel, push the notification bell to be aware of when new videos are coming out. Also, I'm also on Instagram at truly all lowercase _holistic, and also I am on Facebook as well at trulyholistic.net, all one phrase. I've got a Facebook page there you can check out as well. Until next time.